Hello there, you absolute legends. Emma McElhinney here with Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. I am here to ruin your misconceptions about perimenopause, fat loss, and kick midlife in the face. So if you think your 40s are a drag, think again. Because every week I am going to be stripping down the myths about perimenopause. I'm serving you raw, unfiltered truths about your health and smashing misconceptions about fat loss. And a whole lot more. So if you thought you knew midlife, you don't know the half of it. Aging is inevitable, but getting old is a choice. So buckle up, grab a glass of something yummy, and let's get to it. Hello and welcome to this episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. Today we have a fellow bullshit queenager by the name of Andrea Clare. And we are going to be talking all about creativity. We're going to be talking about art and the power that can bring and the benefits that can bring during menopause, perimenopause and menopause. So first of all, hi, Andrea. Welcome.
Hi, Emma. Thank you for inviting me on. I'm good.
I'll only invite people on when I can't think of anything to say myself. I've ran out of ideas for this week. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to do something that is beneficial to all the listeners, but not something I'm particularly good at. And we'll probably talk about this along our journey. Right. So I think the best place to start is just a quick intro. Who are you and what do you do?
Okay, so my name's Andrea. I go by Andrea Clare on social media, Clare being my middle name. I am the menopause artist. So I help women understand and navigate their menopause using the healing power of art. I myself, I'm postmenopausal, but I can generally relate to the struggles and challenges that all menopausal women are going through. And I know that art has been hugely beneficial to me. So that's why I'm following my passion, which is art. And my mission is to help as many women as possible using art.
Well, I love it. What is it about art that makes you so passionate about this? I mean, how have you always been an artist? Is this recent? Tell us more about your background in it.
Okay, so I was creative as a child, thanks to my mum, but my dad was very academic and wouldn't let me study art at school. So over the years, I've done the odd doodle, never really thought I was any good at art. And then when I was in perimenopause, actually, I didn't realise that's where I was because even the GP didn't mention perimenopause 10 years ago. I did my first public art show where I painted a full-size Clydesdale horse statue. Had no clue what sort of paint to use or anything. I was a complete novice, but anyway, it was a great experience. It was very healing for me, unbeknownst to me. And since then, I've done 3 other public art shows. But I've did odd things since then. And then a couple of years ago, it was towards the end of lockdown, actually. I was watching something on Instagram. It said, you can paint a flower using watercolors. And I thought, I've got a wee set of watercolors that were my mum's. I'd never used watercolors before. And I discovered that I was actually quite good at it. And that's when I started painting pet portraits. And I've done copious amounts of those since. And then I've been, talking to various people. I was working with a business coach, and I decided I had a network marketing business, but my heart really wasn't in it. And I thought, I need to get something that I'm really passionate about, and that thing is art. So I thought, great, that's what I want to do when I grow up, because I've never really known what I wanted to do up until then. I'd done 20 years in the corporate world, training people and developing training courses, but my artistic talents were suppressed. And then I thought, well, I'd love to do art full time, but it's quite difficult to make a decent salary from art. And then I'd had a horrendous perimenopause experience. I thought, I am going to use art to help women. I know how good it makes me feel.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, okay, it seems that I'm quite good at art. And I'm actually finally believing that now. Yeah, I can combine the two. It was funny because before things really took off on TikTok with respect to the menopause, this was again, I suppose this was about 4 years ago. I thought I could go on TikTok and talk about the menopause, the musings of a menopausal mama, I was going to call it. And then I thought, oh God, nobody will want to hear about that. Oh, how wrong was I? Anyway, I am now helping women get empowered through knowledge about the menopause, but also to take some time out for themselves, which us women are not very good at doing, and just feel the benefit of getting creative. You don't have to be good at art to feel the benefit. So that's kind of how I've came to, in a very quick fashion, I've told you about how I've got to the point I'm at now regarding painting, being an artist, sorry.
Mm-hmm. I love it. It's such a, I don't want to say it's not a common story by any stretch of the imagination, but you do hear a lot of people, kind of our generation, who have always been really creative, but not been allowed to explore it until like they get their own person and then kind of scratch the surface a wee bit and you're like, oh, I'm actually quite good at this. Well, you mentioned something there that was quite interesting about finally believing that you actually have talent and you are actually good at it. Why did it take you so long, do you think, to come to that point, to get that belief?
Well, when I was at school, my dad said to me, "You'll never make any money from art." So that's why I wasn't allowed to take art at school. He made me take chemistry, which I hated with a passion, and I had no clue what was going on. But anyway, and then gosh, I've lost my train of thought. See, this menopause, it's rubbish, isn't it? When you're trying to answer a question and think of the answer to that question. Yes, so that's that. Oh, that's right. And then when I was in art, in the sort of the standard art classes before, it came to exams, they never rated my art because it was always different to other people's. And then I used to pencil sketch pictures of animals from photographs. I've done it, since I was quite young, actually. But again, I thought, well, I'm copying from a photograph. That's not art. Ironically, that's what I do whenever I paint a pet portrait. I thought it's got to be 100% original. It can't be a copy of something. Anywho, that obviously determined my mindset regarding my art. Now, fast forward quite a number of years, and I've realised, I've learned that art is very subjective. Something that I would like, you wouldn't like, and vice versa. And everybody's style is different. And oftentimes the stuff that sells well in the art world is very commercial. And I've actually recently developed a style apparently that is quite commercial, ironically. But no, I just thought, well, yeah, I am good at art. I've done 4 art trails. I had one of my pieces of art, a globe that I painted a couple of years ago, was actually on display in Trafalgar Square along with a load of other globes. So I've actually learned to celebrate my achievements. I think the generation that I'm from, I'm a Gen Xer, we weren't allowed to sort of show off.
I'm a Gen Xer too.
Yeah, you're a young Gen X.
I was
You're
shit.
you're a young Gen Xer, but we weren't allowed to sort of say, yeah, I'm good at something, you know. And I think as well, because the way I was brought up, whatever I did, you know, it was never quite good enough. So, you know, I passed all my O levels, but they weren't all A grade. So that wasn't quite good enough for my dad. And so, and that continued throughout life until well, I suppose until he passed away. Actually, that's quite sad, isn't it? But yeah, so that's really, and now you get to the point in life as well. You think, God, if I'm, you know, if I can't acknowledge my talent, then nobody else is going to acknowledge it. That's quite profound, isn't it?
It's quite, it's so true though. Like I think as like generationally, I think younger women now are much more confident about standing up for themselves and what their skills are and what they're good at. And that's, you know, obviously that's come down the generations. Like I was certainly, um, I've always been quite loud and in your face, and that was kind of not, you maybe don't want to do that. You maybe want to pipe down a wee bit. And that like it affects you, like if it affects like confidence levels, it affects what you do and how you do it. And at some point, I think most women, like of our kind of generation, do get to a point where they're like that. Why? Like, why should I?
Yeah.
So yeah, I absolutely love that you've stepped into it. And there's so many women like are not confident about saying, do you know what? I am a really good whatever it is that they do. And if you were to ask, like I frequently ask clients of mine, like write down 5 qualities that you have that are nothing to do with being a parent, nothing to do with being a wife. Like, what do you love about yourself? What are you good at? And like blank faces, like that blank face, like actually dig deep and identify your own skills, your own qualities, what you love. Because if you don't, no one else will, you're right.
No. And you don't have to be like everybody else. I mean, as a creative, because I now am a creative, I'm an artist. I want to be different. I want to be colourful. And you know, I discovered a couple of years ago that I've got ADHD, and one of the traits of ADHD is you enjoy being different. So I'm now embracing that, but I think I've probably had that suppressed for most of my life. Although I've always said I've been a rebel without a cause. I've kind of towed the line, and you know, I was married to somebody for quite a number of years who towed the line, encouraged, and he didn't like me stepping outside the box. So now I'm like, oh, you know, I don't care. I don't have to please anybody except myself, you know.
Absolutely amazing. I love it so much. And right, so tell us about, like, from a menopause point of view, from a female point of view, what does getting like tapping into your creativity do? How does it benefit somebody? Like, if speak to me, like I'm an idiot when it comes to like being creative. I'm very science led. I'm very numbers based. I love a spreadsheet. I love a list. I love an order. When I was doing my standard grades, which would have been your kind of O-level equivalents, I got full credit marks, like ones for everything apart from art. And I got out like, and I remember I was like parents, like my mum's an artist, so she was very like you. She wanted to go to art school. She wasn't allowed to go to art school, because it wasn't the done thing, and she was like a mad hippie. But so she was like, oh, trying to live her creative dreams through her children, and then there's me, and I was like, is it on a spreadsheet? And so anyway, at parents' evening, the art teacher was like, no, just it's not very good, not very good, right? But over the years, I have learned that actually I can still be creative. I can be creative in my, so I'm very creative at designing programs. I'm very creative at designing workouts. I'm very creative at tapping into behavior change, how to help somebody change a pattern of behavior. You know, that's where my specialism of creativity lies. So it can be different for everybody. But anyway, from your point of view, how would you help someone, or how would you sell, in very commas, the benefits of getting artistic to someone that might not feel it on the inside?
Yeah. So before I answer that question, the ironic thing is I'm very good at maths. I love maths. So that is, juxtaposed against creativity. But anyway, so what is the benefit? It's, as women, we're so busy. We're juggling so many balls that just taking time out for you to do anything is a real luxury. However, it's so beneficial. We're also very reluctant to spend any money on ourselves. We'll spend it on our kids and for other people, for a lot of people, on their dogs, but they won't invest some money in themselves. And you'll know that from your business. However, just by taking time out and getting creative, and it doesn't necessarily have to be painting a picture. It could be singing, it could be playing a musical instrument, it could be knitting, crocheting, all these creative pursuits. When you're doing it, you are so focused on what you're doing that everything else is shut out. And, just having that quality me time to, you're practicing self-love because you're lavishing that time on you, and you just completely relax. Now, when I was perimenopausal, and I didn't know I was, and I thought I had dementia, I thought I was bipolar, I thought I was going mad.
We laugh about it, but it's so true.
Oh, no, I was in a really dark place at one point. But when I was painting, so I painted this horse, as I say, I was transported to another world. And then after that, I then painted a lot of canvases because all this creative stuff came out that was jangling around in my head. But, you don't have to be good at art to just sit down and just zone out of all the noise and the nonsense and actually, focusing on something that's very relaxing. And, when you're going through the menopause, you can lose confidence. I know I did. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not good at anything, and I'm overweight, and I've got no motivation, and I'm knackered all the time. Oh, that's a bit of a swear word, wasn't it? I said I wouldn't swear. Because
just please note that I have not sworn yet.
You're tired all the time, but just by creating something, that gives you a huge sense of achievement. And the other thing that I get my ladies to do is actually express how they're feeling about the menopause through art. So one of the exercises we do is called Colour the Menopause. So you can either colour it as a whole, or you can just colour the individual symptoms. And just the process of acknowledging how you feel and getting it down on paper. So you're not using words as you would be if you were journaling, you're actually using colour. That is hugely healing. Because, to say, just acknowledging, right, so I've got these mood swings where one minute I'm high as a kite and the next minute I'm down in the depths and a raging beast. That's red for me, but at least I know that that's because I'm menopausal or I'm perimenopausal. It's not because I'm going, batshit bonkers. So yeah, it's really, as I say, as simple as that. And years ago I would have poo-pooed all of that and said, oh, that's a load of hogwash, people saying that art is beneficial and blah blah blah. I was a bit cynical, which is ironic really. But no, how wrong I was. But no, it's just, and I think lockdown has made us appreciate the benefits of taking time out for ourselves and actually doing very, simple things. I mean, if you think back to when you were at school and primary school or nursery, I can't even remember back then because it's such a long time ago. And you were sploshing paint around on paper, and in most cases it looked like a complete mess. But then you went home, proudly showed it to your parents, and your parents were like, "Oh, that's amazing," even if they thought it wasn't amazing. But that, it was just fun, and we lose that from life as we get older, don't we? And that's, you've got these places opening up now where people are throwing paint at walls.
I would love to go to one of them.
Yeah, it's well, I don't know how I'd feel about that, because I'd be thinking, such a waste, all that paint that's on the floor, and look at all the mess.
It's really funny that you mentioned about like the finger painting that kids do. I've actually got Archie's first painting in a frame. His finger painting one. I've got it up in a lovely frame. But anyway, but you're so right about the just sitting down, and even just with a pen and a notebook and doodling, like it's just a form of meditation, isn't it? It just
definitely
takes you out of and that's what like a lot of people are like, oh, meditation's for wanks, or well, not for me. It's about woo, and I don't have time to go and lie in a darkened room and listen to plinky plonky music and all that stuff. And it's not about that. It's just about finding somewhere, someplace, something that can take your brain out of the frazzledness, out of the, oh my God, I've got this meeting and I've got this, and I've got to go here and do that. Just even if it's just for 3 minutes, to just go and just downtime, like just switch it all off. And I think that's what art, or any kind of creative passion, you mentioned crochet and stuff, and what can give anybody is just that step away from the noise, the here and now noise.
That's right. And it's funny you say about doodling, because when I was in the corporate world, I used to sit in some really important meetings. I was in project management, and I would sit and I would just do doodles with a biro. And I've always done that. And for me, it helps me focus and listen. And like you say, it calms my mind. And I think it is, for me, it's linked to my ADHD. But I'm sure people used to look at me and think, is she actually listening? But for me, it was just a way of, listening in, tuning into what was being said. And then after I'd created my doodle, I'd actually come up with something that, made sense. So yeah, there's a huge benefit from just doing a little doodle. And I think, if you're feeling anxious, if you can just, do a wee doodle, it just brings your heart rate down and it just calms you. It's almost like breathing, doing a breathing exercise. I mean, when I'm in my art shed at the moment, and when I'm in here, I'm just completely zoned out from everything else that's going on. And I'm lucky to have this, but you don't need this. You don't need fancy materials. I mean, I'm a self-taught artist. I had no clue when I painted my first public art show. I didn't know what sort of paints to use. I didn't have any brushes. And I mean, there's a lot of snobbery around art.
Yeah.
And the qualified artists were looking down the nose at me as much as say, well, who does she think she is? I mean, I don't go and buy expensive paints. I get stuff from Lidl. I buy my canvases from Lidl. I buy them, or I go to the range because I love a bargain. So yeah, you don't need all the fancy stuff. Sorry, I've gone off a bit of a tangent here, because you can probably tell I'm really.
I have yet to do a podcast interview that doesn't go off in a tangent somewhere along the line. So you're fine.
Yeah. But no, and even just the act of going to the likes of the range. Sorry, other shops.
Other shops are available, everybody.
Yeah. Just going in there and looking at all the different colours of the paints, and I just find that very therapeutic as well. I'd much rather be doing that than going shoe shopping. Although I do love shoes, it has to be said. So yeah, that's kind of why it is so good for you. And you don't have to take out huge amounts of time. even at lunchtime, if you were at work, you could just go and do a wee doodle and you'll feel the benefit.
Yeah. It's so important, I think, to like, it's not a case of you must go and draw something. Like some people might find that hard, but it's like, don't be afraid to tap into the creative side of your brain, because we all have a logical side and we all have a creative element.
That's it.
And it's just like, you might love doodling, you might love a wee bit of knitting, you might love getting the watercolors out, and it's like just letting that side of you be alive.
Yeah. And I think, historically, women would have practiced handicrafts more than we do now. So, I mean, I was very lucky. My mum taught me to knit, to crochet, to sew, to embroider, to make, dress make. I learned all this at a really young age. Thank the Lord I did, because if it had been down to my dad, it would have been all academia, and I would have probably, gone crazy. Yes, but it's ironic, those things are coming back in.
Yeah.
And they went out of fashion because you were a bit weird if you did those things.
Well, we had a whole generation, probably like people like come in mid-40s, where it wasn't the done thing to do the female type things. You had to get into the workplace, you had to drink like a man, you had to work like a man, you had to socialize like a man, you had to shag about like a man, and that was that kind of 90s generation where a lot of the traditional female type things were frowned upon because it was this whole equal thing. But now I think a lot of it is coming back. Like, I was taught to knit when I was little. I started knitting a scarf for my friend's 21st birthday, and I can actually see the scarf and the knitting needles still in it. And that friend is now 41. So I can do it. I just choose not to. But yeah, I think you're right. But a lot of it is coming back. A lot of women are now going, actually, that's time for me to do X, Y, and Z, whatever it is.
And I mean, my favourite programmes on TV, I mean, this is sad. I love the Great British Sewing Bee, and that isn't just women. In fact, the guy won it this year. I love the Great Pottery Throwdown. I always call it Smackdown like WWE.
Do you like the woodworking one?
Yes, I enjoyed that. That was
good
as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's good because these things are being recognized as being beneficial, and people's talent is being recognized. But I mean, I've had people say, oh, I couldn't possibly do your 8-week program because I'm not good at art. But that's not the point. It's not about being good at art. Yes, you will learn some things which you can carry forward if you want to. It's all about taking time out, the creative process, benefiting from the act of creation, taking time out for yourself, and also working alongside women who are having the same challenges as you. And you can talk about, just the act of talking about the menopause is so beneficial, because when you're going through it, you can feel so alone.
Very true. And very true. And I think like that's like a lot of people, like that's like people saying to me, I couldn't join your program because I'm overweight. Like that's the whole point. Like you might not be good at art yet, but you can explore what skills you've got and you can see what fits and you can tap into something. But no, you're absolutely right. Right. Okay, Andrea, where can people find you? What have you got going on just now?
Okay, so I'm on Facebook as Andrea Clare, and I've got my Andrea Clare Art page. I have a free 3-day, it's called Pause for Art workshop. Do you see what I did there with that name? That is starting on Monday, the 19th of August. So it's we'll be doing some art, we'll be learning a bit about the menopause, and it's really introducing women to the benefits of doing that. So that starts on the 19th of August. There isn't a huge time commitment. Again, that's something people think, oh, I've got to give up a lot of time. No, but you will reap rewards from working with me on those 3 days. And then I have an 8-week program called Meno -pause -art, which kind of builds upon the free 3-day workshop. So yeah, and I'm also it's busy. I've just written a chapter for a book. A book called Beyond the Ordinary, and they're all stories of women who are creative like myself, but are also neurodivergent. So have either got things like ADHD, autism, dyslexia. We've all written a chapter, so that's launching in October.
Oh, that's amazing. Well done. Get you.
Yeah. So all this creativity that's been pent up inside me, it's all flooding out, and it's great. And I just love that I'm able to use that to help other women, because I don't want them to experience what I experienced when I had no knowledge about the menopause.
Yeah.
Apart from, I knew that women got hot flashes, but that was about it.
When it was talked about, I was like, she's going through the change.
Don't talk about that. I mean, my poor mum, she was an older mum. She had me in her late 30s, and I remember a day when she just walked out of the house. She said, I'm leaving. She was still in her pinny, but I'm leaving. And she was obviously having a mood swing.
Having a menopause moment. Love it.
Yeah.
Right. So, Andrea, if you can send me the link or something for your challenge, I can get it in the show notes. So thank you a lot for coming on today. It was really fun. Really enjoyed that, and really love your passion for it all. And I hope if one person listening to this just even goes away and picks up a notepad and a pencil and sketches something or doodles something, I think we've touched someone in a non-dirty way.
Indeed.
Or not touching people inappropriately, that's frowned upon. Okay. Right, okay, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today. Look at the show notes, get the link, and I will speak to you soon in the next episode of Piss Off Perimenopause. Thank you, Andrea.
Thanks, Emma. Bye for now, everyone.
And just like that, we have spiced up another episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. Massive shout out and a huge thank you for hanging out with me today. I really hope you've been entertained. And remember, don't be shy, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, keep those heels high and standards higher. Remember, it's all about glowing, growing, and downright owning it. So catch you on the flip side, and don't forget to click the link in the show notes to get your freebie.